From our base in Goslar, Germany, we went for a weekend to the capital city of Berlin. The Goslar train station was an easy 10-minute walk from our apartment. The fastest train route to Berlin is 2.5 hours, but we took a 4-hour trip for about half the price, which made for a leisurely, comfortable journey through eastern Germany into the Berlin Central Station. The station is a multi-level steel and glass wonder, an impressive introduction to the city. After checking into the hotel, we took the subway to Alexanderplatz, a shopping and dining center. The area around our hotel was very nice, on a tree-lined street with a nearby subway stop. The scenic Landwehr Canal is a 15-minute walk south, and a short subway ride away, Oranienplatz has a lot of modern nightlife, including this cool 90s bar. The Spree River runs through the center of the oldest sections of Berlin. There are several photogenic bridges across the Spree, and we also found a nice art market on the banks. Founded in the 12th century, Berlin is one of the youngest of the major European capitals. We started a walking tour in the heart of the old city, near the 19th century Neptune Fountain and St. Mary's Church that dates back to the earliest days of the city. An island in the middle of the Spree, that's now called Museum Island, holds the Humboldt Forum and the Berlin Cathedral. The Forum, now a museum, was the palace of the Hohenzollern Prussian kings and German emperors until the empire's 1918 defeat in World War I. The Berlin Cathedral is also the dynastic tomb of House Hohenzollern for the 500 years of their rule. The end of our walking tour was in Pariser Platz at the Brandenburg Gate, a grand 18th century monument and symbol of Berlin built by Prussian King Frederick William II. The adjacent Paris Plaza contains the French and American embassies. Another imperial-era building, the nearby Reichstag, was built in 1894 to house the German Parliament. The Wooded Tiergarten, now a park, was originally the private hunting grounds of the Prussian and German rulers. A nascent republic followed the fall of the German Empire in 1918, and the 1920s were a golden age of hedonistic nightlife in Berlin, as portrayed in the musical Cabaret. But financial reparations imposed after the war crippled the economy, and the government was attacked by both communists and fascists. The Great Depression of 1929 was the final nail in the Republic's coffin, and the Nazi Party took control in 1933. Memorials and markers from the 1930s and 40s are scattered throughout Berlin. One of the most intact is the former Luftwaffe headquarters, strategically spared from the bombing that destroyed most of the city to preserve the advanced rocket technology of the Nazis. Our tour went by a memorial to the book burnings of the 1930s, in which so-called dangerous and subversive books were publicly thrown onto bonfires. The empty shelves symbolize the tens of thousands of destroyed volumes. Next to our hotel's subway stop is the facade of a former train station notorious for deportation of Jews to concentration camps. Another stop on the tour was the memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe. Walking down the rows of somber black columns, you are gradually engulfed by them. Throughout Berlin, stumbling stones remember the people who once lived at those addresses. They are found all over Europe, 70,000 of them and growing. Finally, the nondescript parking lot covers what was once Hitler's bunker. Walking through Berlin, it's hard to believe that most of what we saw was rebuilt after the Battle of Berlin. Even with the reminders that exist today, it's easy to forget how devastating war is. Immediately after World War II, Germany was divided into zones occupied by the main Allied forces: the United States, France, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, with the capital of Berlin similarly subdivided. By 1949, they were restructured into capitalist West Germany and communist East Germany. In the 1950s, as the Cold War between capitalist and communist nations escalated, the East German side of the inner German border became one of the most fortified borders in history, a physical manifestation of the ideological Iron Curtain isolating communist Eastern Europe from the West. Goslar is very close to the old border and the Marienborn checkpoint, the largest and most important crossing, as the A2 motorway was the shortest and best route between West Germany and West Berlin. The checkpoint, established on the 1st of July 1945, was notorious for vehicle inspections, trying to catch refugees attempting to flee the oppressive East German regime. After the 1989 fall of communism, the checkpoint closed on the 30th of June, 1990, exactly 45 years after it opened. Today, it stands as a haunting memorial to a divided Europe. The divisions in the country were mirrored in Berlin. From 1945 to 1961, 3.5 million East Germans defected to the West, primarily in Berlin. Overnight, on Sunday, the 13th of August, 1961, the East German government closed the 125-mile border surrounding West Berlin. By the end of 1961, a concrete wall, barbed wire, and a cleared no-man's land completely surrounded West Berlin. Another stop on our tour marked the 1953 workers' uprising, Volksaufstand, of 1.5 million East Germans. Despite the workers' paradise image the East German government tried to project, strict quotas and draconian labor conditions resulted in a week of protests that were brutally put down by the military with Soviet help. After the wall went up, only 5,000 people successfully defected to the West. Over 100 were killed in the attempt. The wall came down in 1989, but sections are kept as reminders. And, of course, as tools for the cheesy side of capitalism. Overall, despite the immensely dark periods in its history, Berlin does a good job of remembering them without glorifying them or letting them overwhelm the rest of the city.